welcome back everyone to the deep dive. Whether you're scrolling late at night or tuning in your morning news fix, there's one kind of content that's just, well, it's everywhere. News, politics, current events analysis, it really dominates, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So today we're asking that big question, why? Why has this niche become so incredibly popular, so influential? We're drawing on some fantastic insights from our source, excerpts from the enduring appeal of current events analysis to really, get under the hood. We want to unpack what makes it tick, its key features, and importantly, the impact it has on all of us. Okay, let's unpack this. Why does current events analysis work so incredibly well? It feels like one of the first things driving this has to be just the sheer amount of it, the constant flow. News never really sleeps, right? Politics shift, global stuff happens, crises pop up.
Exactly, it's relentless. And that creates this constant supply of new topics. Creators can literally publish daily.
Keeps people coming back for more.
It does. And what's fascinating is how this constant stream meets a really profound human need. We want to make sense of a world that feels like it's changing so fast. In this age of just information overload, people aren't just passively consuming headlines anymore. They're actively searching for trustworthy voices to help them break it all down.
So it's less about just knowing and more about understanding.
Precisely. People often prefer, curated, simplified, or maybe expert-led explanations. It's easier than trying to wade through dozens of raw sources themselves. It's like needing a guide.
A guide through the noise.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
It really speaks to this fundamental desire to find patterns, to find meaning when things feel chaotic.
Okay, so people want these curated explanations, these guides. But does that help or hinder their own thinking? Does this kind of content actually encourage critical thought?
That's a really important question, and I think the good stuff, the well-crafted analysis, absolutely does push the audience to think critically. About policies, government actions, what's happening globally.
How does it do that?
Well, the channels or creators that really stand out, they often compare multiple perspectives. They include serious fact-checking that makes them genuinely educational, more balanced.
Right.
And this commitment, this journalistic integrity and consistent fact-checking, that's what builds credibility. Huge credibility.
So trust is earned, not just assumed.
Exactly. Audiences stick with creators who seem reliable, unbiased, or maybe if they are biased, they're open about it, and crucially, well-informed. So yeah, this raises a key point. How does that demand for real context actually foster a deeper, more, let's say, discerning kind of engagement, not just scrolling past?
It also feels like there's a huge social dimension here, and emotional too. This isn't just something you read or watch alone. It gets shared, debated.
Oh, absolutely. Politics, current affairs, commentary, it's tailor-made for sparking debate, especially online. Think about social media, clips, quotes. They go viral all the time, particularly around those really hot button issues. The engagement just explodes.
Yeah, you see that constantly.
And digging a bit deeper, politics is just intensely personal for so many people. It connects to our core values, doesn't it? Justice, rights, identity, how we see our country or the world. So when content taps into that, resonates emotionally, or maybe confirms a worldview you already hold, it does more than inform. It connects. It builds these really strong community bonds, often around shared beliefs or even shared outrage.
It feels almost like finding your tribe, in a way, people who see things like you do.
That's a good way to put it. If we zoom out, it really is about how that shared understanding and sometimes shared emotion creates powerful connections between people.
Okay, so we've talked about the why, the need to understand, the emotional connection. But what about the how? It feels like this analysis tops up in so many different ways on so many platforms.
Yeah, that adaptability is definitely one of its strengths. It really meets people where they are. You see it in podcasts, obviously, but also YouTube videos, quick Instagram reels, Twitter threads, detailed Substack newsletters.
So it scales from quick hits to deep dives.
Exactly. Each platform kind of allows for a different level of depth. You can get a 60-second summary or, an hour-long breakdown, and it works for covering tiny niches or huge global trends.
Like local politics versus, say, geopolitics.
Precisely. Creators can specialize in something really specific, the particular conflict zone, maybe local council meetings, or go super broad with daily news roundups or analysis of major international shifts. That versatility is key.
It sounds incredibly flexible. Let's shift gears slightly then. What about the practical side? How does this actually work as a Well, a business for creators. And what's its wider role in society?
Well, on the practical side, there are definitely significant opportunities for monetization and collaboration. You see media groups, NGOs, even political think tanks partnering with analysts who've built that credibility and reach.
Or leveraging their audience.
Exactly. And channels with high engagement, they can attract sponsorships or offer premium memberships for, exclusive content or deeper dives.
Standard creator economy stuff.
Pretty much. But then there's the bigger picture, the societal impact. And that's quite profound, I think. Good, well-researched analysis really does help people become more informed as voters, as citizens, especially during really critical moments, elections, major protests, wars, other crises. It's vital.
So it plays a civic role, almost.
I'd say so. It definitely raises that question about the dual role here. It's not just content, not just information or entertainment. It can serve a really vital public function.
Okay, we've really unpacked the why, the drivers behind its success, but let's make it more concrete. What does this analysis actually look like in practice? What are some common formats people encounter?
Sure, there's a whole range. You've got things like news roundups, Think the Daily podcast, offering summaries plus some analysis.
Right, the daily briefing type.
Exactly. Then there are explainer videos channels like TLDR News or Vox are great examples. They break down complex topics, often visually.
Those are super popular.
You also have debates or panels like the PBD podcasts or maybe BBC Hard Talk, where they bring different voices, often opposing views, together.
It's the sparks flying sometimes.
Definitely. Then you have opinion columns, which are more about personal perspective. Think Substack newsletters or the opinion sections of major newspapers.
More viewpoint driven.
Yes. And crucially, there are dedicated fact-checking segments or whole websites like PolitiFact or factcheck.org, whose entire job is to verify claims and debunk misinformation. That's critical infrastructure, really.
That's a helpful map of the territory. But, despite its appeal, this field, it can't be easy. I imagine there's some serious challenges involved.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not without its difficulties. There are some major challenges to consider.
Like what?
Well, first, bias accusations. It's almost unavoidable. Even platforms striving for neutrality get criticized from all sides. It means transparency about methods and sources is just essential. It's a constant tightrope walk.
I can imagine. What else?
Then there are legal risks, especially if you're analyzing powerful people, big corporations, controversial government actions. You can face lawsuits, threats. It requires careful checking, good legal support. It's a potential minefield.
Wow, yeah. That sounds stressful.
It is, and that leads to another challenge, one that maybe isn't discussed enough: mental exhaustion. For the creators constantly immersing themselves in, frankly, often tragic or highly stressful world events, it takes a toll.
And for the audience too, perhaps.
For the audience too, absolutely. That constant exposure can lead to burnout, anxiety, what people call doom scrolling. Finding balance and practicing self-care is important for everyone involved.
So wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
what does this mean for you listening right now? For anyone trying to navigate this complex information landscape? I think this deep dive really shows that quality news analysis, it does more than just inform. It educates, it engages, potentially empowers. It taps right into that very human need we have to understand our world, to make sense of things that seem complicated, and maybe to feel connected to the bigger conversations happening around us.
Yeah, and if we connect that to the bigger picture, thinking about the source material's conclusion, it really suggests that in this age where, let's face it, misinformation can spread like wildfire, your active engagement, seeking out genuinely well-researched, credible analysis, it isn't just about you staying informed, it's actually a contribution to a more informed public discussion, a healthier society. So maybe the question for you is, what role will you play? How will you seek out, support, and maybe even share the kind of insights that truly help us understand this complex world a little better?